All right, we are up. We're up. Hey, everyone. What's going on? Good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to another Monday broadcast with the Black Buzz team. We have, as usual, with us Miss Shay TBENT. For she's a part of this team and she's the music expert. She is the individual that you can hit up and contact if you want to do anything musically speaking. We have with us Tia. She's back. She was missing in action for a little bit, but she's back now. T Kicks, right? That's the name of her company. Whatever your shoe customization desires are, she will hook you up. She's on Instagram, she is on YouTube, and she is on Facebook. Hit her up, and she will sort you out well. And T, you also do other things. What's that thing you do with the wall, man? What you?
Oh, I'm not even in my room right now. Okay, I'll
Yeah,
run.
but it's okay.
Hold on, let me run in there quick. Like I did my wall like this. So
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, that's
All
crazy.
right. Talent, super talented, uber talented. She'll hook you up. Just give her a link, and she'll gladly sort you out. And of course, myself, KP. Um, I just work with the team. That's all I do. I'm just a pretty face on here. Shout outs to Lamar. Shout outs to Lamar, who's not here. He's our tech guy. Lamar is the man that makes everything happen. When Lamar is not here, I get very nervous when it comes to setting this thing up, but he'll be back soon. We have two guests with us today. We have Mr. Johnnel Francis,
Hello,
and
hello,
we
hello.
have Colette Liburd.
Hi.
Welcome, guys, to Black Buzz.
Thank you so much for having us. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, man, no worries, no worry about it. Let me drop a little bit in terms of the information I got here for your company, and then we'll get into the discussion. All right. Um, so the company that they're dealing with is called Clarendon Trading.
Yes, the Clarendon Trading Company.
The Clarendon Trading Company says we feature a curated selection of vintage and sustainable fashions. We take a lot of pride in sourcing apparel that people love to wear. We do our best to provide quality finds while providing a fair price. My business partner and I started thrifting and reselling about 6 years ago. Initially, we were strictly e commerce, but when our stock started to outgrow our one bedroom apartment, we decided it was time for a bigger space. I
Mhm.
like hearing that already. Oh, yeah. All right. A year ago, we expanded into our warehouse location in Markham, and we have just recently opened up another retail location in Scarborough Town Center. All right. All right. We are really grateful for our progress so far, and we're excited to see where the future takes us. So, Mr. John L. Francis, born in Jamaica. Shout outs to all the Jamaicans out there. Big up yourself.
Yeah, man.
He is 30 years old, studied paralegal at Seneca. He worked in the corporate world for about 5 years before committing to full time entrepreneurship. Miss Colette Liburd, shout out to the strong Black woman, parents from St. Kitts, 29 years old, board certified public health inspector, studied human biology and anthropology at U of T, public health at Ryerson, part time professor and Centennial College entrepreneur. It
She makes
sounded
me,
like you had more.
made me sound bad. Like, remember, guys, I didn't get a chance to write anything. Okay, so like,
Listen, we understand the hustle. We understand the hustle. We're from the same place, so it's okay. Don't worry. You just wanted to be humble with it.
yeah. Like, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, man. So welcome to Black Buzz, guys, and thanks for accepting our invitation. By the way, just before we get into our discussion, so folks, we are on YouTube. That's Black Buzz, I think .to. That's what we're right. Blackbuzz.to. We're on Instagram, same handle, right? Blackbuzz.to. And of course, we have our Facebook page, all right? It's also goes with by the same name. So if you have not subscribed, subscribe on YouTube and follow us on the other links, on the other platforms, Facebook and also Instagram. If you want to, if you want us to feature you, just give us a holler and we will gladly, get you on here and hear what you're doing.
The same handle, blackbusto@gmail.com.
Yes, yes. So we are unapologetic, Colette and Johnnel, in terms of what we do. We want Black people on here. We get Black people on here and we want to hear what Black people are doing. And when you're doing it, nice and big, just like we just read in the bio, we want to hear a lot more from you all in terms of what you're doing. So tell us about, a little bit more about your company. You can, if there's anything else, if you want to start off with other things before we get into the discussion of what you guys actually do, what motivated you. We're dealing with a pandemic right now. George Floyd died. We saw that terrible occasion that happened in May. That's how this podcast even came about. We wanted to do something for Black folks, with Black folks. And we say, you know what, we're going to do it. And then we're going to get Black people on here to come show our strengths and talk about the positive things rather than, the media highlighting the negatives about us. Talk to us.
So where to begin? I think it really starts with like our backgrounds.
Yeah.
Me being Jamaican, one of the things that my parents always really instilled with us was like consistency, hard work, and getting into PFOs. So for me, my parents always encouraged me to like go to school. So when we started school, it was all about finding a program that I knew that was into my lifestyle, and that all the skills were, of course, transferable. So I decided to go into law because whether you're a doctor, whether you're a welder, whether you're a taxi driver, law does affect you one way or another. So I want to know more about law, so how I could properly like utilize it in my own lifestyle. So when I was in school, one thing I always realized was that a lot of my classmates were always worried about finding a job. After we always said to ourselves was like, well, these jobs end up hiring us because of the skills that we end up learning. And Claude had a conversation was like, what if we utilize those skills and put into something else that we can build and just grow for ourselves and our family? So at first we wanted to do something that when I look back was kind of ridiculous. We wanted to do used furniture. But when you look at used furniture, there's so much overhead. It's crazy heavy. And also, where are you going to store it? Because my mom was not going to allow me to put that in her house. So we decided, like, you know what? Maybe let's just start. Let's start with clothing. It's small. It's fairly cheap, and everyone needs it more or less. So I was working at Wawa Nissan Insurance. Yo, big shout out to Wawa Nissan Insurance. They're my employer, and they honestly taught me so much there from the financial aspect from insurance. And then we finally decided like, hey, I've been working here for about 5 years now. Let's go really deep into this. And that's kind of like where we are now. We're still trying to figure things out along the way, even though we've been at this for a little while, but we're slowly getting better and constantly growing.
Well, just to follow up on something that you said there in terms of it, like as you go through, if you if anybody comes to mind or any company or whoever comes to mind that you just want to give a shout out, we do that here as well, right? We want to big up the people that basically helped you to get where you're going, whatever the case is.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So we got a little bit of backdrop. Anything you want to follow up with, Colette, on that, or?
All right. Just want to figure out, how do you switch from paralegal to Wawa Nisa? How did that work?
Because so paralegal is more or less like just law or whatever, and insurance essentially is like finance. But I was working at the front end of the business, so I was an underwriter, just looking at people's applications to see if they qualified or not for insurance. So I worked in the housing department. So if someone had an old house or if they had like a lot of issues in the past, I'd be like, no, sorry, we can't give you insurance here.
No, the reason why I asked, because I went to school to become a law clerk, and I know paralegal and stuff is close, and I'm like, how did you switch from one to the other? But yeah, that's all I wanted to know. Go ahead.
So for myself, I guess my journey into entrepreneurship was quite similar to Johnnel's. So I grew up obviously where my parents instilled in me from very young age, very like seriously and predominantly that I need to go to school, I need to get good grades, I need to get a good job, right? So growing up, I was always told, you know, go to school, be a doctor, be a lawyer. That was like pretty much the only options that were really given to me. So I went to school, I got good grades, I did my best, or the best that I could. And I just found that a lot of the opportunities that I thought were going to be there right after I finished, like U of T, for example, weren't really there. And I wasn't really getting into the industries that I was looking to venture into to get that experience. And I just became really frustrated over time, sending out applications over and over and over again and not really getting much of a result back. And then it kind of dawned on me that I do have these skills. I do have, you know, the ability to communicate and interact and to essentially show myself to the world. And what better way to do that through entrepreneurship? So I essentially just made the decision that instead of waiting for opportunities to come to me, I was going to create them for myself. So that was one of the reasons why we started the Clarendon Trading Company. And I also ventured into other entrepreneurial initiatives as well through public health. So I started my own consulting company by the name of FST Consulting. So I provide food safety training to restaurants and other areas that would need to be certified as a food handler. So yeah.
Okay, that food safety. All right, well, that's some very, very good information there. Okay, tell us a little bit now in terms of you know, details of the company. We know that you're dealing with clothing and all that. I aside from you guys coming on, I wear clothes, right? And all that sort of stuff. Give, give me the details. You know, we want the nitty gritty of you know, things that, you know, regular Joe Blow like me wouldn't even consider or think about, and all that sort of stuff in terms of your company and how it works. You
Yeah,
know.
it's kind of crazy because like there's this negative stigma that really comes with used clothing, where
Yeah.
people have the idea that it's dirty, it's cheap, the quality's bad. But the
Right.
reality of it is that like as long as the clothing are treated well, you're gonna have a good quality garment forever. So with us, we try to really find different ways to come across clothing, whether it's like working with other resellers and finding new products, or if it's going to different warehouses to find clothing, or even going to Value Village, finding an item that's fairly priced and reselling it online as well too. And I think that's one of the most important part about our business. It's finding different ways to communicate with our community. So letting people know that, hey, if you have any used items that you want to sell, you're more than welcome to bring them on in store and sell them as well too. And I think for us, the one thing that kind of like differentiate us from the used clothing industry as a whole is that we have a huge importance on actually bringing the community together. So aside from selling clothing, we also offer like information, whether it's on our YouTube, on how to start a small reselling business, or how
Okay.
marketing and things like that too, right?
Right.
Because I think a lot of the times companies, they focus so much on the dollar aspect that they forget sometimes about bringing value to their clients. So with us, it's really about like, hey, if you want to buy clothing from us, you're more than likely to, but we always encourage people to actually resell so they can actually build their own businesses as well.
And also another thing that's really important to us, as well as the industry of like sustainable fashion and vintage, is not just about being sustainable in the sense of the clothing, but it's also a lifestyle. So when we're talking about vintage clothing, that's anything generally 20 years or older. For the most part, that clothing, it was made to last. So clothing that was made in, say, the early 90s, or even the late 80s, for example, you'll find it and it's still in really good quality, really good condition. You can wash it another 1,000 times and it's still going to hold together. Whereas a lot of the newer age fashion that we have currently, it's you'll wash something 2 or 3 times and it's literally disintegrating in your hands. So a lot of the times what we're doing, it also encourages a lifestyle of buying a lot less. So instead of buying 30 sweaters that are going to fall apart after a year, you're buying 2 or 3 that can last you for a longer period of time. So it also provides a lot more purchasing power to the consumer, because they can purchase something and that money that they spent will sustain them. They'll have a piece of clothing that they can wear for obviously a longer period of time.
And one cool thing about our industry right now is that companies like H&M or Zara are now becoming demonized because of the negative impacts they have on the environment and all the excess clothes that actually go into the landfills. So
Yeah.
our clientele is generally someone that's between the age of 15 to about 30, where they have a conscience when it comes to shopping and they understand their impact when it comes to the textile industry.
Yeah.
And what a lot of people don't know is that the textile industry is actually the second largest polluter in the whole world, just next to oil and gas. So I think we all have the ability to make small changes. And for us, we want to make that change is through clothing and the textile industry.
Yeah.
You wanted to say something, Shay? All right.
Yeah. So it's technically a thrift business, like valuation or whatever. Just a little more. You have a little more pizzazz. So how do you? Just just a little bit more. So knowing that these stores exist, has there been any type of confrontation or competition or anything along those lines? Because technically you're in their business.
So for us,
how does that work for you?
So for us, we've been really fortunate, and I guess we've had a lot of an ability to differentiate ourselves from our competition because we put a lot of focus on curation. So one of the biggest things that differentiates us from companies like Value Village and stuff like that, you can go into Value Village and look for an outfit, and you could spend an hour there and look through every single item that they have on their rack and not find anything that would work for you, right? Whereas when you come into one of our location, each and every item that is on the floor is handpicked by us, curated by us to be generally on trend, fashionable, and desirable for what people are looking for in this current period of time. So not only are we saving you time and energy, but you're actually leaving our stores with something that you're gonna wear and not just, wasting your time rummaging through racks. So that's one of the main ways that we've differentiated ourselves. Did you want to speak towards any confrontation at all?
I think just like any industry, a lot of them are generally oversaturated, whether that's we have too much doctors, too many nurses, too many bus drivers, and our industry is exactly the same. There are so many different resellers, whether it's shoes or clothing. So there have been times where people may have not necessarily liked our content or like what we were doing, but like we believe in this Chinese proverb, like without haters, you never have success. So we kind of see it as a positive thing, the simple fact that we're able to get our message out and they may not like it, but the simple fact that they're coming across it shows that the things that we're doing are working.
And pardon me for my a little bit of my ignorance here, but I'm the guy who does this part of the show. So you cater to everybody, right?
Yeah.
So a dude like me walk in there and I want a suit or I'm looking for a blazer or something like that, I can find something like that in your location. The one in Markham, you said, and the one in Scarborough Town Center.
Exactly. And the best part too is that like if we don't have your item, we actually have requests. So we'll have people that like, you know what, I'm looking for a 1992 vintage band t-shirt. And we're like, if we come across something, we can definitely hit you up and try and find that as well too. So it's also about being as helpful as possible to all our clients. If they are looking for something particular, we try to take that extra step to be like, you know what, let's take your phone number down. And if we come across it, we'll definitely give you a call.
And sometimes too, especially when we'll interact or meet someone that is new to vintage or generally unfamiliar with used clothing in general, we'll take the opportunity to just provide a little bit of information because this isn't something that every single person knows about. And in order for people to change their perception of how they view, say, used clothing or vintage clothing, it starts with that, knowledge and education first off. So we try to just go with that. And whether someone buys something or not, it's not the end of the world, but it's good to kind of open awareness towards the industry as a whole.
Yeah.
Is it when I walk into, well, first of all, how has the pandemic affected your business right now?
For us, without the pandemic, I don't think we would have been able to expand into a second location.
Whoa, say more.
Say more. Because one thing that we were fortunate enough to do was to be ahead of the curve selling online. So we've been online for the last 6 years now.
Right.
And of course, because everyone was stuck at home, it's as if the pandemic kind of expedited our sales, expedited our views and how much people are actually checking us out. So for us, we were actually fortunate enough because a lot of companies are kind of old school where they don't focus on online. They're more so focused on the in-person retail.
Yeah.
Us, everything was closed, so people were stuck searching the internet all day and every day, and that really allowed our business to, I'd say, probably like triple during the pandemic.
Oh man. Okay. That's and it's good to hear of the positives because we're getting a lot of that, as well as the negatives. But I just wanted to hear from that. So in terms of the Markham location, right, and the Scarborough Town, so both locations are open, right? Like physically open?
No, so we only have the Markham Town Center location open, and
Yeah.
as of November 21st, when the lockdown happened in Toronto, they
Yeah.
closed the Scarborough Town Center location. So that one's been closed since the 21st, and it's supposed to be opening again January 21st, but with
Right.
COVID, you just never.
No, it's supposed to be opening in December 21st,
Yeah, December 21st.
but yeah, we don't know whether or not it's gonna open.
Yeah.
So
Okay. No, I'm just asking because I'm even though I'm not in Canada, I'm in Florida right now.
Oh,
You're under the sun.
Yeah. I just left, by the way. I'm moved down here recently.
oh wow.
Congrats.
Appreciate it, man.
Don't pay attention to me, he's a traitor. Okay. My question was breaking into the mall. Scarborough Town Center, I could, it's maybe easier. Markham, how did you swing that? Because we know what we're working with, and I know that.
Yeah.
So I was about that. How did you manage to break that into?
I'll even throw in something a little bit more on that affects us too. That double bus fare, depending if you're not driving and all those different things you run into. Like, what you get our people coming up there, or what's the the customer situation like?
And that's the craziest thing I think about vintage is that like it's such a new and emerging industry, especially for younger generations and the older generations. So it's really about like young teenagers coming into the store, whether it's like young Asian kids, young Black kids, young white, really a diverse mix of people. It's like if you have a little swag, you're gonna want to buy something from us. So it's literally like these young kids that understand fashion, that understand style. So with us, it's really about having a diverse mix of people come into the store. But the one reason why we chose Markham especially was because there was so much people focusing on the west parts of Toronto, whether that's downtown or even Mississauga, which so many vintage clothing places already. So we wanted to create a community in a place that was kind of untapped. Because I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the east part of Toronto. It's you have the 401, you have the 407, you have the 404. So you have all these different highways and all these different ways for people to come to us. So we decided like, hey, why don't we try something new to create a community in the Markham environment as a whole?
Yeah.
I see. In terms of the where specifically in Markham you say you're located?
14th and Woodbine. So if you took the 404 going north, you get off Steeles and continue north on Woodbine.
Okay, I'm familiar. I'm from the east side as well.
Where in Toronto were you from?
So I grew up in Driftwood.
Okay.
Right, and then when I got into my career, I ended up moving to the east side. So at one time I was in Markham specifically because I'm a church pastor.
Okay.
Right?
Nice.
Yeah, so my church was in Markham, and that's how I got to that. And then of course I moved to Ajax.
Okay. Oh, nice. We're originally from Ajax.
Okay.
Ajax. Yeah. Where in Ajax were you from?
Right there at Rossland and Harwood.
Okay. I'm at Taunton and Audley.
Okay.
That's where my parents live. Yeah.
Yeah, and my parents are South Ajax.
Sorry, T, and sorry, Chanel. We just had a little moment there.
Okay, I'm okay.
Understand.
My bad.
All day, every day. Okay. So was it easy getting into Markham Town Center? Like you showing up as two Black individuals, showing up as young people, like how, like when you went to say, hey, we want a space, give me the application. What was that? Because I understand Scarborough Town Center. It's a bit easier because that's a full-fledged, mostly of us, and sometimes some Asians but Markham Town Center, how did you? Hey, we want a space.
Not necessarily, not because it's Scarborough Town Center. I want to hear both. What was it easier? What was it like for either of them? How about that?
So for where we are in Markham, it's a commercial location.
Okay.
So essentially that was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
For Markham, they just wanted to see like the basic stuff for like signing a lease, like your credit and like all that stuff, business license, whatever. So
Right.
that one was pretty straightforward. I do find it's a little bit interesting being in the setting as a Black entrepreneur, in the sense that all of the other businesses around us are not Black for the most part. So sometimes I do find, I notice it a lot more than Johnnel does. Maybe because I'm a female and he's a male, I'm not sure, but sometimes like that interaction, it's like, I can almost guarantee that if I was an older white male, you wouldn't be talking to me the way that you are. Sometimes the interaction of, I'm assuming that you don't own this location. I'm assuming that you're not the owner of this business. I do notice that a lot at this location, our Markham store. A lot of the times it's not like the rudest interaction, but it obviously is something that's off-putting to me because I'm identifying why that difference is there, or at least why I feel that that difference is there. So I feel like that's been the hardest part.
Yeah, I could definitely see
But Scarborough Town Center was actually,
it's an interesting story about
Yeah.
Scarborough Town Center, actually. So at the beginning of August or July, I forget which month, they reached out to us because they're actually having a like Caribbean week. So they wanted Black businesses to like be showcased. So they
Right.
had a bunch of different Black businesses, from juice companies to food companies, and we were a clothing company as well. So fortunately enough, one of the leasing managers there, she's actually Black as well. And she was like really impressed by our booth and everything that we had set up. And she followed us on social media as well too. So she was like, well, right now with everything going on with COVID, we're not really sure how things are going with your business, but if things are going well, there might be an opportunity for you. And I think that's what's important for us, especially with the Scarborough Town Center location, having visible representation of people that look like you
Yeah,
and
yeah.
actually believe in your goals and see where
Right.
you want to go
Yeah.
does have the potential to help things be a lot more smoother along the way, I'd say.
So yeah, for sure. I think the biggest thing, especially in the Black community, is just like being each other's champions. So being that person to say another person's name before they're even in that room, or mentioning another person's business before they're even in that sphere or realm of interaction. And I think that's what we all kind of just need to do a little bit more of, just to, champion each other, hold ourselves together, and build our community up as a whole. And I see a lot of amazing and positive change in that direction. And I think it's just going to only continue and get even better from here.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
In terms of employees,
Mhm.
tell us a little bit from that arena there.
Yeah.
For us, it's actually been so crazy because Cotton and I, we really try to focus our business maximum day by day. So when we got to hire employees, we literally knew nothing. So we had to, well, Colette had to, because I don't do that stuff.
Yeah.
She had to do all the background work when it comes to the taxes, when it comes to the benefits.
Right.
So for us, we wanted to really focus on people that understood the community and that actually represent not only Clarendon Co, but us as well. So we hired our first employee, who's a Jamaican as well. Big shout out to Maya. And so when we ended up hiring her, she actually is in the reselling industry as well too. So we wanted to create a community where we have people that, one, understand vintage, and two, are a representation of the Black community as well. Because when you take a look at vintage, a lot of it is based off of 90s hip hop and R&B styles from the early days, right? But if you take a lot of the sellers, it's a bunch of white kids, Asian kids that aren't necessarily reflective of the times. So I think there's a lot of times where Black people, we have so much cultural cachet when it comes to our styles and just being cool. But in terms of the being represented as one of the owners in the industry, that doesn't happen very often. So for us, it was about like working with people that look and reflect us, and also working with a lot of our friends, because a lot of our friends we actually ended up employing as well too.
Okay.
So now we have like 4 people that like we essentially work for. And that's what we try to focus on, especially with our employees, is that like, we work for you. If we don't get up in the morning, do things that we have to do, it's going to make your job difficult. So as much as possible, we try to create, I guess, like a realm of like understanding and just respect
And also teamwork.
Yeah.
I feel like we're very candid and transparent about the fact that, yes, we're entrepreneurs and we're building our business, but the key point in that is that we're building our business. We are not claiming to be experts and know the ins and outs of everything. So as we hire new people, we're also very open to collaboration and learning also from the people that we're working with as well.
How many employees do you have in total, like between both locations? Like what?
For now, 4.
4, okay. And you guys just sort of you bounce between, like, what's the movements like as the owners?
For us, again, I think it goes back to like what our parents taught us. It's like, I think a lot of times people have this idea that like, oh, I'm going to be the boss. I don't have to do any work.
Yeah.
Where with me, I've realized that like, I enjoy being an owner operator. For me, I get some type of, I guess, like reward feeling of knowing that, hey, I got to get up and find clothing. Hey, I got to steam these clothing. Hey, I got to do packages to ship these things out. So for us, it's really about like putting in those long hours and actually just working to get things completed. So for us, it's not really about, okay, hey, you have to do X, Y, and Z. We work alongside all of our employees as well too, because it's more than just us sitting down and collecting the paychecks or whatever. It's like putting in the hard work and the time.
Yeah, and I feel like that's something that we both kind of learned so like naturally from our upbringing. Like he's seen his mom to this day wake up every single day and go to work. I see my parents wake up every single day. It doesn't matter if they're tired, doesn't matter whatever the case is, they still get up and work. So at the end of the day, that's something that just came as like second nature to us because it's always been how we are. Like we work hard, we definitely instill that in the people that we hire, but just because we hire people, that doesn't mean that we sit back and relax. We definitely just continue on with our roles, but now we have the extra support that we needed to help us grow.
Exactly.
T-Kicks has to jump off, but we want to give her a chance to from one entrepreneur to the next.
Okay, so you guys are saying that you have like the 2 locations because of COVID. I'm just trying to like speed through my question. Do you guys like do like online opportunities? Because you know how like the thrift stores, they'll have like their stores, but I don't think they'd really do like online shopping and stuff like that. So I was just asking because a lot of the stores that I know, they're like heavily relying on online. So I just want to know if that's what you guys are doing.
And that's what's crazy. That's literally how we started our business. Our business was started from online. Are you familiar with like selling apps like eBay or Etsy and stuff like that? Yeah, so essentially all of our clothing are on 6 different selling platforms. And also we have our own website as well too. Because for us, the way that we started our business is generally the way it's going to end. So we're going to continue always doing online.
Yeah. And one thing that we really noticed is really important, even from the very beginning, is just diversification. So that is one of the reasons why we went on to, instead of just selling on, say, Instagram, for example, or just selling on Facebook Market, we chose all of the other 6, 7 selling platforms as well, because that diversifies us. So let's say, for example, one of our selling applications on Grailed got hacked. Okay, so someone got into our online platform and was basically selling on our behalf as a fake account and took our passwords, everything. We couldn't get logged back in. So imagine if Grailed was the only platform that we used to sell on. We would be out of money for that period of time. And it literally took almost a month for us to get our account back. So from the very, very beginning of our business, we've always focused on diversification. That's why we do so many different platforms online. That's why we don't just focus online only. We also have our in-store retail aspects as well. We also do wholesaling. We also try to diversify in the types of products that we carry. Yeah, just trying to, we call it like our pandemic proof plan. But in reality, it was in place before the pandemic. But the reason why we've called it that in recent times is because I feel like that's what's helped us sustain ourselves and essentially get through.
And we're not bankrupt yet, so things are fairly well.
And we don't want it to be. We don't want it to be.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh man, I mean, if like I said, when I was there and we're doing this, well, before I wish I had known that. I'd have come in there and just support the business. Support the business. We got Johnnel, Francis here, and Colette Liburd from Clarendon Trading Company. That's if you're joining us just now. You know, 2 Black folks here doing it big in the community. Location in Markham, location in Scarborough Town Center. They got their online platform going. They have their social media going as well. We're looking, what are we looking at there? Your Facebook, this is it.
Yeah, that's our Facebook page. If you actually have a close look at our Facebook page, you can find all the information that you're looking for,
Right.
whether contact information, our location, and also all the times, one thing that we really try to take advantage of is the social media aspect of it. Social media is I know a lot of times people demonize social media, that it's bad for kids. It's, if you're on it too much, you can become depressed. But for us, we try to just focus on it and use it simply as a tool. It's a tool just like a hammer does with a nail. It helps us grow our business, and it's been extremely successful.
Okay. What's in terms of what's the best time of year for you? Or what's the busiest time? Best time, busiest time, you know?
So the busiest time is the fall season. So basically the fall all the way leading up to Christmas. Kind of are pretty much in line with like the top times of year for, you know, other types of retail as well. But obviously with COVID, everything's kind of been turned on its head a little bit because of, you know, closures and just different restrictions. But again, luckily we've been online. But we've also found that the summer period for us was actually really, really successful because we found a way to adapt to the current climate. So we also do events. So we have our own like reselling event for other resellers and businesses within our community. We work with 5 other businesses as well to do that as a collective. It's called the Street Market. So we put on a number of those events throughout the summer. And it was really interesting because throughout the summer, we had certain restrictions in place based off of COVID, but we were allowed to have certain numbers within the building, obviously with, you know, spacing, masks, stuff. But we found that people were literally just craving like in-person interaction. They were craving, you know, an event, just anything to do that was outside of the house. So those events in particular, with our team that we work collectively, we had literally like lineups around the block, like hundreds of people that waited outside for 3, sometimes 4 hours just to come inside and to shop our vintage, and then to shop with the other businesses as well. So we actually found that this year, the summer period was actually our busiest time of year. But I really think that was because of COVID.
What's one of the lessons you've learned? Like you said, you started 6 years ago and you guys come from both different financial backgrounds. What was one of the lessons you've learned that even though you got like really hit, you still pushed through? Like, what was that one thing?
For me, I think it was like not over leveraging ourselves, because one thing we always try to focus on was the finances, like what you said. So for us, we realized that the way that we were running our books and doing our accounting, it really helped. For instance, let's say a business is making $10 a month. Your average business person may be like, you know what, I'm going to use all that $10 and put it into a new property, and hopefully that can turn to $20 a month. Or with us, we'll take that $10 and you know what, we'll only use 5. And then with that 5, we'll buy the property and we'll try to make it work. And then hopefully from that 5, we can turn that into 7, then that 7 into 8. So for us, it's about like really doing things slowly and growing at our pace.
Growing in a sustainable manner. Like even when we like expanded into Scarborough Town Center, the first thing that we figured out before we decided whether this was a good decision or not, we told ourselves, can we sustain our business if we don't sell anything? So if we sell 0 items at the Scarborough Town location, can we still pay all of our bills? Can we do that? So that is something that we've kind of applied to pretty much everything in our business. Like we apply worst case scenario, and if we can survive the worst case scenario, then we can survive everything else as well, right? So I think that was
the number one thing I would say.
For sure.
Definitely working in the business for 6 years is definitely that, really focusing and understanding where you are financially.
For sure.
In terms of when you were describing like people ordering online, and you're still doing that, all right? Okay. You I think it was Johnnel, you were describing the process of what happened. Like you said, you had to what's the just give me a little bit of the details in terms of what you were doing. You're sending that out. Like, you know?
So essentially what happens when we get an item, well,
Yeah.
let's say hypothetically, we go to Value Village, we then clean that item. If it's extremely dirty, we wash it. If it's just like regular old piece of clothing, we'll steam it. That'll get rid of all the bacteria. And then
Okay.
we steam it also to get rid of the wrinkles. We post it online. And then once that happens, we get a notification on where it's gonna go. We package up the item and then we ship it off. And that's a fortunate thing about our business. It seems difficult, but it's really straightforward.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, for you, but I just order, but but it's on a platform like this, it gives me the opportunity to ask a question like that.
So also,
Go ahead.
if you have any other like small businesses or resellers that are listening, so one of the biggest hurdles for us, especially being an online business, was shipping. So the cost of shipping is usually really high, really expensive, especially if you're shipping internationally, like outside North America, for example. When we first started our business, we were using Canada Post. And sometimes we were literally making $1 or $2 on an item, which obviously over a long period of time isn't necessarily sustainable. But luckily, we found some other much more affordable shipping options that are available to not just businesses, but actual like anyone as well. So one is called Stallion Express. So shout out to Stallion. And another is called Chit Chats. So you can just search these. They have a number of different locations. It's really straightforward. You have to put in your package dimensions yourself and the weight. You just type in where your package is going. It will print out a label for you. We have a label printer, but you can also just use a regular printer, tape it onto your package, and it's ready to go. And then for cost differences, like let's say you're shipping something to America, usually with Canada Post, that could easily be like $20. But with the Stallion Express that we use, it's anywhere from like $7 to $10. So it's a lot cheaper. International shipping, like if you were to ship something to Europe, it would easily be like $25, $30 without tracking. It's like 15 to 12 with tracking. All of it's with tracking. So like literally half the price sometimes.
And for us, I think that's one of the best things that's helped grow our business, because a lot of times people will say, oh, I got to make more money because I want to do this, I got to make more money because I want to do that. But for us, it's like, if you can save money, you're also making more money. So one way we did that was like changing our shipments around too, right? So a lot of times when we're going to Scarborough Town Center, for instance, we'll find different ways that we can save money just in case something does happen. We have a little reserve of extra cash that we can work with.
Yeah.
I mean, what you're saying here sort of goes into my other question as far as the shipping. So I hear you say the US and Europe. So you guys are international.
Yeah.
Not just North America. You're beyond North America.
Yeah, we have. So it's interesting because Vintage is very heavily focused on like American culture.
Yeah.
So we're noticing that there's a lot of interest from Europe, as well as Australia, because in terms of access, in terms of access, they don't have a lot of access to American products just because of where they're located in the world. Whereas in Canada, we have plentiful access, right? So there's always that pull and there's always that interest because it's exclusive, it's rare. They can't really find it anywhere else. So it's an easy sell.
In terms of your partners, I guess you shout out a couple people just now. So what are some of the other partners that you have? Are they Black? You have any Black folks in the mix, or?
In terms of our business partners, it's only Colette and I that run the business.
Right.
It's only that. But in terms of like business that we work with, it's everyone.
Okay.
Yeah. Whenever like we do events at times, so sometimes like we've gotten like food trucks and stuff like that to service like our clients, and we always try to find like a food truck within the Black community. But yeah, we do mix it up, but we do also try to keep a focus on like us.
Big time.
Yeah.
So with everything, the pandemic and also the unrest that was happening, how did that affect you guys business wise? Because remember we had Blackout Tuesday. Did you guys see like a surge of more clientele or more purchases from the community? Because I know they were trying to put up businesses where only black. So did that help you guys in any way?
We didn't necessarily see an increase in sales, but what we did see a lot of was community support. And that's a lot of people saying like, hey, buy from these black people. Hey, this is a black business that I bought from before. You should check them out as well too. Because I think sometimes we try to focus so much on the financial aspect, like, hey, you can only support with your wallet. But sometimes supporting someone, especially in today's day and age, can be by shouting them out on Instagram to your 20,000 followers, or maybe introducing them to a friend that was unsure of the company before. So the one thing I love about today's community is that you don't only have to support by buying a product. You can also show your support in so many different ways. So with Blackout Tuesday, that's one thing we saw. We saw a lot of people shouting us out, a lot of people hailing us up and everything. So that's one thing that we really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Okay.
What does the future look like for you guys in terms of, you started out online, and, you also told us about, the slow progression that you guys, or the approach that you take in terms of the slow progression, and just doing it in a methodical way, thinking about it, and you're moving that way. Now you have 2 locations. So where are you going now? You continue to open more locations, or, you want to, what is it?
That's the goal. I think for us, it's constantly about like growth. We've talked about like opening more locations in the future and stuff.
Yeah.
And for us, I think right now it's just like focusing on building on from what we have. Ideally, if we were to talk like 10, 15 years from now, I would say probably like 10 stores worldwide, a bunch of warehouses and factories.
Yeah.
It's like, I think all that starts with this, it starts understanding and doing the things that we need to do now.
All right. You're pouring into what you got now. Okay, I like that. I like that.
Exactly.
Exactly. And a lot of our focus in our business is other businesses and creating value and wealth for other businesses as well. So I feel like in a lot of ways, that's where at least a major percentage of our business is going. We already do wholesaling. And the great thing about wholesaling is, when your products are helping to make somebody else money, they're always going to come back to you. So it's been working really well so far. And like I said, I'd say we probably started wholesaling around like the 4-year mark of our business, but we've really vamped it up a lot more now. So I see us probably focusing a bit more on that in the future. But because we do have a really good understanding about not just the B2B side, so business to business, but the B2C as well, I see us kind of just, once again, my favorite word, diversifying and focusing on wholesaling, but also having that retail percentage as well.
In regards to your content, do you guys have exclusive things like, guys, if you don't get it now, done, it's never coming back? Because I know with vintage, they have like, you could find a jacket that maybe is worth like 75 grand on the market, but you don't know because it's just as cheap. Like, do you guys ever come across items like that?
Yeah, so that's the coolest thing about vintage too, is that it's so exclusive. Like 90% of the pieces that we have, you're probably not going to see them again. So we do come across like for instance, like a rap tee, for instance, like with Snoop Dogg on it from like the 1992 album. Something like that would be worth anywhere from like $500 to $1,000. Like just the other day, we found a vintage band tee, Led Zeppelin. And then we ended up selling that for like $300. So sometimes you can really find really cool and rare pieces, but with us, we try not to focus on those items because not only that, but only the return on inventory. You generally have to end up holding those items for a month or 2 months because it's such a niche product that the demographic is extremely small. So to find that right person that's going to buy it, you're sometimes waiting a year or even 2 years to sell that one item. So with us, we try to more so focus on like moderately priced items from anywhere from like 25 to like $60, where those items may sit for a week or maximum 2, so we can constantly create cash flow and income.
Okay.
We are on here with Colette Liburd and Johnnel Francis, owner and operator of Clarendon Trading Company.
That's what happens when the sun gets to your head.
Yeah. Two young Black people, man, doing their thing, offering some good insights and telling us, what's been pushing them, what's been motivating. They're young, they're Black, they're educated, motivated, all these positive things, all these wonderful things. You got to hit them up. They're on Instagram. They are on Facebook. What's the other platform that you're on?
They're on YouTube.
YouTube. They're on YouTube. With the same, there it is. There they are right there. Remember to subscribe. Hit them up, right? And send them comments, send them information. Buy, support, right? We want that. We want to see them grow. We want to see them develop, man. Really appreciate you guys coming on here. We're just about out of time. Is there any final thoughts or insight that you want to offer, to our folks out there in terms of, whether it's following your goals, chasing after your dreams, putting in that hard, you talked a lot about that hard work and being intentional, just something.
Yeah, I would say don't be afraid to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like so many of us, we kind of live our life on eggshells, always waiting for the next disaster. And in that sense, you're never truly free, and you're robbing yourself of your ability to really enjoy and experience life in its entirety. So don't shoot yourself in the foot before something's even started, right? You know what I mean? Live your life, enjoy your experiences, know that, there might be times when things didn't work out in your favor. There might be times when you quote unquote fail, but every time you fail, that's just an opportunity for you to pivot and be even better. Any failure in my life has been a blessing. Anytime I've looked back and said, oh man, I wish this would have worked out or whatever, I'm actually saying, I'm glad that didn't work out, because I'm here where exactly I'm supposed to be. So if you're thinking about, doing anything, doesn't have to be starting a business. It could be, I don't know, starting a new job or going back to school or taking a risk or doing something that you might be a little bit nervous about, just do it. Right? Because we all have that voice in our head that holds ourselves back more than anyone else does. So just take life for the opportunity that it is and enjoy the ride.
Appreciate that, man. Anything you want to say, Johnnel?
I would say just be as consistent as possible.
Yeah.
I think so much times we focus on perfection, but consistency will bring perfection over time. So that's really it for me. Just be consistent with everything that you do.
Okay, appreciate it. Well, oh, you know what? One question I did forget to ask was, why the name Clarendon?
That's where I'm from.
Clarendon. Oh, okay.
So Jamaica just trumped everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no say.
Clarendon.
I had no say. I say I'm an honorary Jamaican though.
You are.
No. I refuse, okay? I refuse.
No more details needed, my boss. I hear you. Clarendon it is. Clarendon it is. Yeah, man. Thanks for being on. Thanks for coming on. And
thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries, man. We're happy that we're able to feature you on Black Buzz, right? And definitely stay in touch, right? We'll do our part too, but stay in touch with us. Any information you want us to get out there, or whatever the case is, we'll give you a shout out, right? As a matter of fact, I'm gonna do my little part now. I'm gonna go right now on Instagram and follow.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
We have a few minutes left. Do we have anything coming up for the holiday season that we want them to know about?
Check us out online. That's clarendonco.ca. We have a bunch of sales that are currently going on, so you guys can check that out. We also have a bunch of new content coming out very soon. We're at the podcast and videos. You guys can check that out on our YouTube page, or of course on the Instagram. And all that is Clarendon Co. That's CLARENDONCO.
Yay! We'll make sure we're gonna put that up there, and we're gonna make sure and tag you guys so that everybody tunes in. I'm so happy that you guys responded. This was really great. I had no idea you guys existed. Now I know. I'm reason to be in Scarborough now. Hey.
Yeah, I got you right here. There we go. Clarendon Co. Trading Company. Follow.
Thank you.
Now. No worries, man. All right, folks. See you next Monday. Where we'll be back again, featuring somebody else in the Black community doing some good things out there. Take care of yourself. Remember to mask up, social distance, wash your hands. All right, we're still dealing with this pandemic. and we want everybody to be safe. Let me just